What does art mean to you?
It's a way to express myself that makes the most sense to me.
The most truthful articulation of the human experience that exists.
Art has the capabilities we've never even imagined before. Art can heal, cure, and help people express themselves. The list goes on. No matter if you're a beginner or professional, there are many styles and types of art to choose and create from. Art can be a great way to express your thoughts, feelings, and identity.
I'm Melanie Lloyd, I'm 17, and I'm in AP Art, Independent Study, and Graphics. And my favorite form of art is pretty much anything I'll do. If I'm like having pent up frustrations or something, or if I'm just bored, I'll go draw because it can distract me and it's something that helps me let my emotions out. Even if it's not like my emotions are in the piece, it's something that helps me work through them and helps me relax. Really got started by doing drawing, so that's something I always like to incorporate into most of my pieces. For AP Art, we each have to make a portfolio of about 15 pieces, and they each need to be centered around something we called an inquiry, which is basically your driving question. So mine is, how do our experiences affect how we perceive horror? So all of my pieces are kind of themed around horror. Sculpture of the Head, which that one I made at the beginning and was centered around kind of getting those classic horror elements, you know, like zombies, brutalized corpses, all that fun stuff, but make it less in your face. So that was the aim with the sculpture. And then the one with the butterfly wings was supposed to be about how in real life horrors, we often try to cover them up and make them look pretty and not really talk about them, but when you go in closer, you see that it's like really awful and horrific things are happening. So that's why the close-up in the magnifying glass looks kind of dead and decaying. And then for the last one with the picture frame and the yellow background, that one is was kind of a transitional piece in between talking about classic horror elements and focusing on how horror often relies on like distortion and confusion and not being sure what you're looking at. So that's why there's so much plastic and layers to that one, so that you can't totally see the face.
As stated in a blog from mentalhealth.org, making art is helping many people express themselves without having to use words. Art is very special. It is its own language and a form of communication that is available to be understood by anyone, especially those who cannot write or speak.
My name is Karina Valachi, and I'm a first-year arts administration student at the University of Virginia. I've done art my entire life, and I've experimented with every form that you can think of, but my favorite and the one I do the most is definitely drawing. Art to me, in one sentence, is the most truthful articulation of the human experience that exists. That's definitely not a popular belief throughout the philosophical discussions of art throughout history, but I do believe that art is not an imitation of life, but is a truth in itself. I feel like expressing my emotions through art is not a conscious effort that I have to make, but just something that happens naturally for me. I feel like I don't have to think about it. I go into art without a game plan, but at the end I have something that is indicative of my personality and experiences and what I'm going through at the current moment. I feel like my feelings are very much expressed through the use of form and color. Just the way that my art appears, I feel like you can tell what I'm going through just by looking at it. I started doing art at a very young age because my mother is a very talented artist and has been her entire life. For her, it was a form of escapism through a rough childhood that she passed down to me as a sort of coping mechanism, but it has grown into such a large aspect of my life that really is overarching in everything that I do. It's taken charge of my education and what I want to do with my career. So my beginnings in art happened at a very young age, and its impact on me has continued throughout my entire life thus far.
Art is an important part of our culture because it allows us to have a deeper understanding of our emotions. It increases our self-awareness and also allows us to be open to new ideas and experiences.
My favorite type of art to do is definitely painting. I feel like it's such a great way to relax, and I just love the way that paint and canvas interact and the art that is formed with the medium. I definitely don't paint as much as I would like to, but when I do, it's definitely my favorite to do. It's just a bigger process to paint than it is to draw, in my opinion, because for me, drawing comes as naturally as anything else, and I'm able to just start whenever I want to and create what I want to create. Painting is definitely more of a conscious exercise for me, but I really enjoy it. This first one was one that I created during my senior year of high school, definitely during a very rough patch where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, where I wanted to go to school, before I had my sights set on what I'm doing now and where I am now. So this piece kind of details the overwhelming nature of what I was going through at that time. This is a mixed media piece with Prismacolor and acrylic paint. This is another mixed media piece that I did last year. This one is definitely more experimental and out of my comfort zone. It's photography, photo transfer, and graphic design that I did also, like I said, last year. This one kind of details something of an identity crisis, and this ended up being one of my favorite pieces that I've created. And this final piece is actually another mixed media piece, which I really don't do that many of, but a lot of my favorites have actually been where I was trying something new. So this is a charcoal drawing and mixed with oil paints for the background that I also did in school, I think my sophomore year of high school. And this one was actually started out as something of a self-portrait and very much diverted from that path, but it's kind of like my internalized experience with anxiety and some stress.
Looking at artists' creations and by creating our own work, it can help us learn about ourselves and others.